Hey there, folks. Welcome back to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Today is the the 9th of November, reset for the 10th. Thanks for being here. This is Star Wars Day by Day, by the way. Thanks. How are you doing? We did leave today. Live in the Midwest. We don't have a tree in our yard. Okay? Neighbors have a gigantic, I think it's called a black maple. Because regular maples drop their leaves really early. This black maple is gigantic, and it holds on to its leaves longer than the regular maple. And a lot of their leaves went down on their yard, but most of them landed in our yard. And so we went out about noon, and we were out working on leaves for about 5.5, 6 hours, just raking, moving. I came in to put the baby to bed about 1:30 because he was out doing everything, and you tell he was tired. He needed to go to bed. And I came in for an hour, put him to bed, do my afternoon stuff. Then the boy came in, wanted some food, gave him some food, went back outside. By then, my father-in-law had come over and mulched most of these leaves. And so we were still picking up some. He has this leaf blower that you can convert into a leaf sucker. And so I spent about the next hour and a half, 2 hours, sucking leaves. And, you suck them into this bag, and then you have to go empty the bag onto the front of the property. And it doesn't sound like much, but it was, because this tree is gigantic, and it has a ton of leaves. And the reason why we had a ton, because my wife was like, I feel like we had more. And I'm like, yeah, I probably did, because we had most of the country had a drought, and it's fairly warm this summer. And so that's why. And it was true for that. But I also bought an elderberry plant and planted it. Maybe March or April or something. And that thing is about so it was barely anything. We've got it now. It's about 5 feet, maybe 5.5, maybe, yeah, somewhere around there. That's pretty good growth. We're gonna have to cut it back a little bit, and it's still growing. So it's fairly hardy. But at some point it will we will have to cut it back a little bit and then let it grow again. And once it does, it's gonna be pretty big. And can't wait to see what happens with that. Can't really excited about it. But yeah, we're gonna let that go until we need to, and then when we need to, we'll cut it back maybe and see what happens. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out what's gonna happen. But good day with the leaves. I mean, it was a pretty good day. The boy, the boy was exhausted. Told him to come upstairs about, I don't know, seconds, something like that, so the wife could cut my hair and do all this stuff. Came up here. It didn't take my wife long to do my hair at all. Came up here to say goodnight because I didn't hear him. Dude was passed out. And you could tell he was super tired. But yeah, he came out and passed out. the girl may still be up, so because she's just like a tank. You see here, we still have military might here, and military might is the one where you need rebels, okay? And I think Forest Moon is Forest Moon the one where you also need rebels, or is Forest Moon the one where you need troopers? Because Nooch did a video on this, and I talked a little bit about this in the free to play video. I'm going to talk more about it here. Hey, we lost by 2. That's fine. But what I want to say about this is, Nooch did a video where Meathead came out and said, "Hey, we replaced Forest Moon with another assault battle for November." And so Nooch is like, well, okay. And he's like, but if they're replacing these, if they're starting to replace, if they're replacing Forest Moon with this new Peridia thing, that's gonna be a problem. And I'm positive, what if they're gonna start doing this like they did with the raid, where every 7 or 8 months we're getting another raid, like we're like in in February, March, we are supposed to be getting in. The cycle with the new raid. We're supposed to get a new raid in here, and with the arrival of Galactic Legend of Ahsoka Tano. And so the speculation is, if they do that, what if they started doing that with assault battles? Where, I don't know if you've seen it, but up until a couple of years ago, not that I've really looked, but I think Nooch primarily has been the one driving assault battles. And I know that Captain Awesome and the Gerbil have been talking about Captain Amazing, sorry. I've been talking about the Poncho Bros thing, and I'm wondering, are we getting to a place like with the raids where they're replacing them every 7 or 8 months? Are we going to start seeing them cycle out assault battles every year or so? Because up until recently, I've not really seen a lot of people talking about a lot of assault battles. People don't really talk about them a lot. I talk about them a fair amount because I feel like they're important. Because I feel like if I can maximize and get my squads up through these assault battles, like, pretty sure here we have CLS, that's for 1. We have the Night Sisters, that's for 2. We have the Revan Jedi, and then we need CLS for another one. Then we need Sith Empire for another one. Then you need troopers or bounty hunters for another one. And then you need Empire for another one. They need Poncho Bros, and now these Peridia troopers. And it's like, if they're going to switch out, if they're going to start switching teams out, because unless you're going for GL Ahsoka, you probably don't have the Peridia troopers. And for somebody like me, and a lot of us, it doesn't make sense to farm the Peridia troopers. Now, of course, the Peridia troopers are going to probably be a must-have, just like the Poncho Bros were for the new raid that's going to be coming out in February or March, probably. You're probably going to need them. You're probably going to need all of the new Night Sisters. And so what if, on top of the new Peridia, Imperial Remnant, you needed the new Night Sisters, the Great Mothers, for whatever's going to replace the Night Sister assault battle. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that I think there's a definite possibility that this happens. And if it does, that's extremely disturbing. Because what that tells me is that's essentially you telling me that that's another way of trying to get me to spend money without actually telling me that I need to spend money. But that's exactly what it is. And if you're not seeing that, that's exactly what it is. Because I don't think there's any other way to spend it. It's like, we're not going to tell you need this character, but we're going to take away the fact that you need these other characters. And we're just going to make you notice that, oh, these other things went away and they replaced them with this new thing. So what does that mean? It's them telling you to spend money without actually telling you to spend money because, but it's like, how does that affect your farm? If you're like me. No, not that because I know people. There are people that just run rest yells, and I know there's one that I think you can run the First Order or the Sith in the same one. And if you do that and you're like, okay, I'm gonna rush gas now. Well, I mean, you can use troopers and rebels in the one, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do Java now. Well, there's one for bounty hunters. And then if you say, oh, I'm gonna go for Kenobi now, we're back to troopers and you're like, well, I'm gonna do the JML now. Well, you're finally getting into the CLS portion. And if you go like, oh, I'm going to go for C, well, that finally gets to the trooper portion, the bounty hunters and the trooper portion. But it's like, but other than that, you're not doing the Phoenix one. You're not doing the Sith Empire unless you've got the Leviathan, which means you still don't have the Jedi one, and which means you still don't have the Night Sisters, and you don't have the Inquisitors unless you happen to be in a rote guild. Which, I mean, that one, they put in 2 or 3 years ago, and it was the last brand new one. But I mean, to be able to do that, you need Inquisitors, which are just that's a whole squad, and they're insanely expensive. What they've done, I mean, talking about the Night Sisters, what they've done so far. Look at the Poncho Bros. I don't know that there's only 2 of them, right? And so there's not a lot of cost there. And I don't know about this the new Peridia. I don't know if it's just the Peridia guys or if it's just these, well, then there's 3. And so, but I don't know if it's just 3. But if it is, that's fine. But I mean, it's like Captain Enoch is an inexpensive node. And unless you're going for Ray, you're not going to be farming this. You're not going to be farming the Enoch node. This is with Wicket, if you're past Wicket, if you've already got Wicket, then you're not going to go back and farm this. So the only reason why you would, I mean, maybe if you farm it, maybe you keep going, but that means you either need to start this as soon as you start the game, or you need to wait, or you might as well wait until this guy go double drops in August or September of next year. And in all of my accounts, I have Wicket done. So yeah. And you got this guy, Dark Side 8C, so they're all super expensive farms to begin with. Plus, there's no reason to do them until they become double farm crumble. And then still, it's going to be a super expensive farm. And I just don't know how to do that. I just don't know how to deal with that. But it's just very. I find that very daunting to have to deal with. Save up some more, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. But I am definitely concerned about the newest, about if they start replacing assault battles with other assault battles, with new assault battles. And then, like I said, what happens in, how long are they going to leave these assault battles up for? Are they going to leave them up for a year? And then replace them with, could they potentially replace this Peridea assault battle next November with a skeleton crew? With a skeleton crew? With a skeleton crew thing? Because that's a trajectory we're on, and I do not like it. I don't like the idea that we might have to just keep paying the stuff just because. And it is very alarming, and it's something that I don't think you should be concerned with now, but it's something that you might just want to prepare for just in case. Like, just in case you have some extra energy sitting around one day, just be like, maybe I'll go farm Night Trooper or Captain Enoch or whoever, just in case. Like I said, don't know if anything for a fact but it's just something I thought about when I saw Nietzsche's video, and I'm like, what if they're going to start doing this? Because can we all agree that these raids are, raids with characters that just happen to come out right when or just previous to when the raid comes out, that you happen to need these characters for the raid, that's the reason why they're doing these things? And it started with Leia, but no, it started with Jabba, and then the Starlight Pet raid were Jabba, and I wasn't, I hadn't played the game that much. I came in, and I was never able to do Starlight Pet, but Indoor with Leia was very well done because it was fast paced. You could get in and get out, and you could have some very effective, inexpensive low teams, and it was all. And it was all stuff that people mainly being that it was Imperial troopers. And most people have Imperial troopers because they're very easy and because they're very good and they're very accessible. Ewoks, little more complication there, but still pretty accessible. And then you got Hera and Akbar and Lando and Han and Chewie and 3PO, and then Leia, of course. And all of those pretty easily, readily available. And then you get to this new Boo thing where the Separatist, you have to be, you generally, you have to be a little further on in the game, a little bit more established. And then you've got this, and then you've got Darth Maul and Newt Gunray and Sidious and just all of these other characters and the Gungans that are brand new and the Poncho Bros and Queen Amidala that are brand new. And basically these random Jedi that not a lot of people have. And so from that perspective, it's very different. So we have to look at, if they do a Perea raid, who is it going to be? Well, it's obvious that it's um, Balin, Shin, Merrick, the Great Mothers, Morgan Elsbeth, the Perea Troopers, all of which haven't been out very long, and then probably the other Ahsoka marquees like the new Sabine that's out now, the new Hu Ying or Hera, whoever's going to come out, and of course Ahsoka, and then hopefully Phoenix, hopefully Phoenix, but I don't know, but I'm not so just in case you want to look a little further down the road, you might want to go ahead and look into maybe putting, if you're like just trying to figure out what to farm next, maybe just throw some shards towards Night Troopers or Great Mothers or the mercenaries when they come out. I mean the Balin mercenaries, but then again, so I think if you're asking me who do I think is going to be in the raid, I think there's a high probability of Phoenix, and then also I think there's a high probability that the other ones are. Am I an idiot? Why are these not here? Oh, this is ships. That's why. That could be why. So Phoenix and mercenaries, and I'm good, but I could be better. Obviously, as we continue to build towards as I continue to get towards Revan, Candra's missions, Zalbar are going to be good. And then because I have Bam, I have Cardoon, but I can bring her up a little bit. And then if I bought this bounty hunter pack, I would have Finnick, which I might want to do anyway. Now that I think about it, if it's still available, because yeah, I might want to think about doing that. Maybe not on this account, but if you have the means and you're thinking about it, just look at the mercenary tag. We know about Hondo, but Aura Singh is in there. I think Chrysanthemum's in there. Imbo's in there, of course. I know. I think Zam's in there. And then I think Dengar's in there, but I'm not seeing for sure. But I think that's the reason they built this. Is I think this. So anybody with Phoenix, so I think there's a high probability about Phoenix, Spectre, the Spectre tag, which is Ahsoka, and maybe Mandalorians now because Sabine is Mandalorian. So mercenaries, Phoenix, Spectre, and maybe Mandalorians because Sabine is a Mandalorian. So it's a possibility. I'm not saying for sure, but especially if Mommy Mandalore ends up being an Ahsoka requirement, which I don't think anybody's thought this way about the raid requirements, but I think it's a high probability. And I also think I might want to accelerate my farming a little bit. But I just want to give you some stuff to think about. Doesn't mean, but I'm just thinking out loud here. But also, Grogu just got accelerated. Is Paz accelerated? Yeah, sure. I'll activate him. Why not? I think Paz, because Paz was the first one that came out, right? Yeah, Paz is double drop. He's on 4A, so that's cheap. But yeah. So Mandalorians, mercenaries, Phoenix, and Spectre. I'm gonna go out on a limb and saying if you want to know who's gonna be in the new raid when it comes out, Mandalorians, mercenaries, Spectre, Phoenix. Could be wrong, but I feel pretty good about that. Anyway, if you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, let me know. If you want to talk about anything else in general, let me know. As always, hold the line, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.